she was a remarkable individual. Redoubtable, I think the word was invented for her. Opponents knew exactly what to expect from her, and at times, I have to say, colleagues did feel the wrath of her tongue. She was the fiercest proponent of free speech I think I've ever met. She believed that we had the freedom and the right to say things that insulted each other. Her career in politics, of course, spanned decades as a minister, and then for many years as a shadow minister. And I spoke to one of her colleagues last night who said during those years in a shadow cabinet, she was the only one who always spoke up for what she believed to be the national interest. Her patriotism was deep within her family. She was immensely proud of the work her father had done with the Royal Navy during the war. But she was so much more than just a politician. After 2010, suddenly Ann Widdecombe, the socially conservative Christian politician, suddenly appears on Strictly Come Dancing, on Big Brother, doing theatre tours all around the country, one woman evening shows with Ann Widdecombe, writing novels. Quite remarkable what she did. And then suddenly in 2019, as it appeared that the Brexit vote wasn't actually going to be carried out by the government or Parliament, I took a phone call one day. Ann Widdecombe here, I sort of stood to attention. I mean, you would, announcing that she'd love to run for us in the European elections. Her joining what was a completely brand new party directly contributed to us winning by a country mile 6 weeks later, the removal of Theresa May, Boris Johnson becoming Prime Minister, and Brexit happening. She played a very major role in getting Brexit over the line. Although, having said that, she was pretty unhappy with the Brexit deal. It wasn't the one that she actually wanted. As a colleague, she was phenomenal. Her work rate was unbelievable. She'd turn up anywhere in the country to speak, and of course, unlike modern politicians, Anne didn't need notes. She stood bestride the stage, knowing exactly what she had to say. Her convictions were fierce. She never sought popularity for the sake of it. She just stood up and fought for what she believed in. She was a great colleague, loved by all of us that worked with her, even if, as I say at times, she would tell me I was wrong in terms of what I was doing, in no uncertain terms. We'll do anything we can. For example, I've had our security teams going through all of our emails to sort of pick out ones that were sent that either were directly to Anne and were abusive or about Anne. So we're doing everything we can to support the police in every way.
Can I just ask you, are you aware of abusive emails that have been sent to Anne in recent days or weeks?
We all get abusive emails in public life. I can tell you that we have not been able to discern a specific pattern. I think quite often with these cases, you would see an email from an individual that would come again and again and again and again and again. We haven't found, we can't identify from our data any individual. General abuse, yes, it goes with public life, whether you're in football or politics or music or whatever it is. But we've not been able to identify any individual where we can point the finger and say to the police, we think that person should be. Do you know what? After a busy day in the European Parliament, where we were under attack from everybody, and she was fighting back in the chamber, I said to her, Anne, I said, I feel like a shrinking violet, next to you. We went over the road to a bar and drank several large whiskies on the rocks, which she thoroughly enjoyed. And it was just that sense that even though what you saw in public was this fierce 5'1.5" battling fighter, there was a much lighter side to Anne. And that was enjoying a drink, not in Lent, of course, and also watching how she was with drivers, security people, waiters, waitresses, and it's a very good way to judge powerful, famous people. How do they treat everybody else? And she always did it with the most remarkable dignity. Thank you, everybody.
Tell us about this vehicle.
Well, a colleague used to take Anne about, but he retired from taxiing, so I took over all the business with Anne. So I took her everywhere, really.
So you were Ann Widdecombe's driver?
Yeah.
And how long had you done that role?
About 10 years. Oh, she was a great lady, very kind. She was absolutely a privilege to take in the car. And she was funny at times. I like her because if you asked her a question, you'd get a direct answer. There was no mucking about. No, she was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Well, when I saw it yesterday, I thought she'd had a heart attack or a stroke or something. Of course, then later it turned out it was a suspected murder. Just shocked, absolutely shocked. And I spoke to Harriet, her PA, up in Kent, and you know, Harriet didn't know at that time what had happened, you know, so it was, yeah, very sad, very sad. Probably about 3 weeks ago. But she had another driver that would take her locally to the train station, but I'd done all the long distance stuff. And she was always doing talks for somebody. Yeah, she was a wonderful woman, you know, absolutely. And it's so sad, isn't it? You know, takes some replacing that sort of, you know, she was great at her job, you know. You got what you saw on the tin. If you didn't like the answer, you shouldn't have asked the question. So yeah, so I will certainly miss her. Well, she was in the theatre talking, I think we were up in Whitby. She'd done her talk, first half of just talking about herself, and then it was a question and answer time afterwards, and they would ask her a question, and one gentleman put his hand up. She said, Anne, did you ever like anybody in the opposition party, i.e. the Labour? She said, yes, I did actually. And he said, can I be rude and ask you what it was? She said, yes, it was David Blunkett's dog. So she was very comical, down to earth. Just a great woman.
When was the last time you worked for her, when you driven her last?
I think I took her to Yeovil for I think it was a WI meeting or something. But she always looked after me, made sure I had something to eat, coffee, you know. She was really, really thoughtful.
She'd never expressed any concern, had she, about her safety? I mean, obviously politicians' safety.
No, not really. She seemed quite happy living up here by herself. You never expect it, do you? Well, I didn't, certainly, you know. Very sad. I can't believe it, you know, somebody, you know. I knew they arrested one guy, but they've let him go now. But no, it's just a shock. Oh, she loved it. She liked being by herself, loved walking up on the moors. And she, as you know, she got a swimming pool at the back. So if she come back late, or late-ish, she'd always have a brandy and go for a swim. Very, very good, you know.
And she felt safe here?
I presume, you know, she never mentioned any fear or anything like that.
Does she have CCTV cameras?
I believe so. I can't say. When you went into the drive-way, all the lights used to come on, so I presume she had cameras, I would have thought. I can't say for certain. And she had the gardener, of course. I think he was the gentleman that found her, I think. And then she had like a lady that come down her cleaning. And no, she was just a superwoman, you know. Be sadly missed. Just remember, I thought she was a great politician. She was very strong in her views. I don't think you'd be able to replace that sort of person. Not really. Could be a little bit outspoken at times, but that was Anne, you know.